Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Mini RPG of the Week, the Season 2 finale. I am, of course, Will Arnett, joined by Ryan Gosling for this afternoon's broadcast, and we are looking forward to bringing you all of the action on the 5 best maps of the 25 we played in Season 2, voted for by the community. How you doing, Ryan?
The thing is, with the long hair, I don't think I actually look like Ryan Gosling anymore. There was a time.
You really do need a haircut.
There was a no. I'm not. I'm growing it all the way out. I'm gonna make the most of it while it's still here, and then when it, all inevitably falls off, then, I'll have lived my best years. But anyway, yeah. Oh man, I'm happy to be here for the finals. This is gonna be very fun.
It's going to be a great time. The players have had a week to set their best times on each of these 5 tracks, and we are joined by the 16 players who were at the top of those maps at the end of that week. They're going to be playing it out in 2 heats of 8 to try and make it into a finals, a top 4 in cup mode, with quite a lot of prize money on the line. Of course, if you make it into those top 4, you are immediately into the prize money. And we are very lucky. Nadeo have added a little bit to the prize pool, as well as some coming from the lovely staff here at Mini RPG of the Week. And Twiggy, it's just going to be a good time.
It's just going to be a good... Absolutely. It's always a good time, as in the immortal words of Owl City and Carly Rae Jepsen. But that's... but it's all about getting... it's always been about getting your name on the Liquipedia page. But obviously, this time, you got more than that. There's things to play for other than getting your name on a meaningless Wikipedia clone that is made for people in esports to give them inflated egos, and that is why we are here. And I'm so happy.
Yep. It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, one of my favorite things as well during the season, the regular season that we have, is looking at some of the maps and seeing players start to push them to their limits. And I think today we get to see the culmination of that. Some very, very good maps indeed, pushed basically as far as they will go. And we do have some very exciting maps lined up for everyone this afternoon. We're going to be playing, 3 maps from Australix, 1 from Yorsh, and then of course there is the final one, which is built by Tada. Crystal Peak, played in recent weeks here in Mini RPG of the Week. I think that was week 21 or 22. I could be wrong. Listen, it's been a long season.
Yeah, I you know what? I was actually here for 2 of the 2 regular Mini RPG of the Weeks that I've casted with you. Were 2 of the maps that are in here. So obviously I'm a good luck charm for the event, because 2 of those maps go into the finals. So, that's just how it is. But obviously, I love all of these maps. I took a look at some of them, obviously, throughout the season. I've taken a quick look at some of them just a couple hours ago as well, and they're all incredibly dank, and that is all I can hope for.
Yeah, I mean, especially the Australix ones. He made some interesting mapping decisions over the course of the season, and a lot of them paid off. There are some very cool maps there, and of course, we have to talk about summer and winter when we get there as well. But we're going to be kicking things off on spring afternoon. The format for these semi-finals is just going to be points. You want to finish as high as possible out of the 8 players every single time, and we will be playing 3 rounds on each of the 5 maps. So 15 rounds to differentiate yourself from the competition and to make your way into that top half.
We saw some interesting strats last time we played Spring Afternoon. I wonder if anybody's going to go for a bit of a little flight with a reactor boost or anything like that. Maybe, maybe not. I think the thing is, everybody is going to be focusing quite a lot on making sure they stick to the ceiling in the end of the map.
Very important. Yeah, not flying out of the map works out quite well for you. Playing in this first semi-final, we are going to have Worker, Hazard, Maimo Jr., Neko Jim, Mokura, Lars, Nabla, and Lucario. And I think the 2 strong favorites to make their way out of this semi-final, Twiggy, have to be Worker and Hazard.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, from what we've seen before, they are the big names to go through this one. In terms of best times as well, if you look at the leaderboards for these maps, they have some great times on that too. So look, it's going to be like the thing is, when we're starting on this map, it's going to be a really trial by fire to get things going. I think this has been one of the maps where we've seen the most chaos in the first couple of rounds.
Absolutely. It's going to be crazy. And we are underway then with our first round of this semi-final. Worker out to an early lead on this one. Lars following close behind. Nabla behind them. Neko Jim has jumped up to the top. We have immediately said nice things about Hazard and then lost him a little bit further down the order on this one.
Yeah, well, that's that's spring afternoon for you. The pack is split apart. and we're just going to have to see if it'll split even further apart when we get towards the end. But people are a lot more consistent on it now than they were, obviously, on the Discovery week, the first time we saw it. Workers out ahead, Laris right behind, but so far it looks like Worker is looking pretty safe so far.
Yep, looking good. There is that turnaround, and well, it's upside down, and that means hard to see what's going on. Michael Jr. will fly out. Workers picked up a first place. Nabla in second. Hazard has climbed back up to third. Neko Jim will take a fourth, and you can see the point spread out there. Picking up a win for Easy Worker gets him a full 100 points, and it is a relatively steep drop off from there on out. The win's going to be important.
Yeah. Really, really important, and it looks like Worker, well, the only one to get through completely cleanly there. You can see the confidence on this map already, and if you're confident on this map, I would assume you're confident on all the other maps in the pool.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
You would hope so.
You would hope so. I mean, I just want to go and take a quick look at exactly what the leaderboards are at the moment on Spring Afternoon. How are players doing? A good time, the best time on this track. Current world record held by Heave, who is in the other semi-final. We'll be seeing him in a while, but Worker's best time on this map is a 46.4. So, you know, not really pushing it all the way down there just yet, but hey, there's some hope.
There is definitely, and I think Heave actually does have the record on every single one of the maps at this point in time, right before we started. So that's, you know, it is what it is. A second place is fine when you're coming up against somebody who has the record in every single map. But here comes Hazard. We talked about him earlier on, and contending with Nabla for this one. It's a close finish, but it doesn't matter how close it is. You still lose out on 8 points if you do not come first.
You can see it there. I mean, Spring Afternoon, to be expected over the course of the afternoon with some of the not dodgy turnarounds, everything very consistent on this map, it felt like, despite the fact it may not look like it, but it's definitely possible to lose a few tenths, even half a second very easily, even on what is still a very, very good run indeed, when you have to bounce on your roof to flip the car back over. So expect to see times that are maybe not challenging all the way up at that 46.4 mark, all the way, maybe even into the 46s at all. We'd be very impressed by this afternoon.
Yeah, I don't think we saw, like, actually we saw a few really good times when we watched this map on Discovery a few weeks ago now, but at the same time, you know, with the way it was just all spread apart, there are so many areas that you can get a slowdown, or you can take it risky, or try and do something wild. You're really not going to see anything like what we see on the leaderboards here whatsoever. It's very similar to some of the maps in the current World Tour pool, in that it's just like, there's no point in driving it risky. You're just not going to make it through to the finish.
Yeah, keep it safe. And there are, of course, a couple of cones as well. Speaking of World Tour, very exciting times. A potential chance to crash into one in the middle of the map. Hazard is going to fly out at the end, was sitting in a safe third place, and with 48 as the time at the top, we are still waiting for a third place finisher. Hazard in third place is over 8 seconds behind the leaders.
Yeah, that's and it just keeps getting even more and more as we go down. I think we're gonna see. I mean, a DNF would be absolutely terrifying in this. Luckily, not this round, missing out on it by just a few seconds there. But the spread between all those players is pretty wild. Yeah, you do not want to get a DNF. You would be completely out of the running. Yeah,
DNFing does drop you an awful lot of points, but we will see now as we head on to our second map of the pack. Where are we heading to, Nat? More Australix maps, or are they? I think it makes sense, right? You go 3 Australix maps, you got to spread them out a little bit, keep it different, and that means we are going to be onto Crystal Peak by today. I'm not going to say it is the most stylized map in the pack, because summer and winter exists.
Yes,
but it's up there. We've got We've got a lot of good scenery going on here.
I think first time you look at this map, you're like, oh, that where? What? There are things. There are arrows. Sure. What I realized very quickly is that you just aim for all of the pink crystals, and you should kind of make it through.
Yeah, I mean, should kind of make it through. I'm going to say it, Twiggy. I don't think that's going to cut it.
No, I don't think so either. I think this would take me a few hours to wrap my mind around just in general, but obviously the players here are much more skilled than I am, and that is a good thing. Otherwise, we would be watching
like that.
Oh, I mean, look, you know what? Turbo, when we were casting together, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I won a Cup of the Day once," and I was like, "Yeah, I got like 20th in Div 4," and he actually sounded, he was like, "Oh, you'll get there."
And the best part is, he's absolutely wrong.
Yeah, no, he is 100% wrong. I'm never going to get better than Div 4 in my life.
Yeah, one day, maybe.
Actually, no, I got Div 3 on that one. You know, the mini full speed one.
Yeah.
I got Div 3 on that.
I'm very impressed.
Thank you.
No jokes, just impressed as we will get ready to play Crystal Peak. And we will say that Worker has been practicing these maps up until quite recently. Set a PB not but an hour ago on this map. Down at a 58.7. Still not good enough to beat out Heave, who also holds the world record on this map at a 58.695. We'll see how close we get to those. We'll see if players can keep it clean through the middle of a map that is more awkward, I think, in a lot of ways than pretty much any of the other maps in the pool. A lot of bangs, a lot of wall bangs, a lot of needing to put the car into very awkward positions and trying to do it as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly transitional, and the problem with it being incredibly transitional is that it's very finicky, and if you don't get exactly the right amount of speed and the exact right angle, you're going into a wall or you're going into the void. And that's the problem here, and it does mean that everybody's going to be splitting apart quite quickly. And the top four are, well, all together apart from Worker, who is way out ahead so far. Everyone else real close, but wow, that's a brilliant start from Worker once again.
Yeah, 59.8, and again, on a mini RPG track and in a mini RPG competition, trying to play rounds, you'd be surprised if any of these players did start to challenge PBs, because it's not a level of risk that you want to be taking. So getting within a second of PB there by Worker, very impressive.
Yeah, really, really impressive already, and you can tell just how much having that practice, especially very recently, is going to aid you in getting through to that top two.
Yeah, it's going to work as Worker has pulled out a little bit of a lead there. Nabla was sitting in second before that round, but here on Crystal Peak, we'll see if he can manage to hold on, because that wasn't a stellar performance. It wasn't a bad one by any means, but it has allowed Hazard to sneak up into second place at the moment by just a single point. And honestly, it's looking like Worker, this may be the map where he extends the lead and starts to really lock in that first place now. And that's going to mean a battle for second place. Only 2 players going through into the final means that you really can't afford an off map at all.
Yeah, not whatsoever. Luckily, or for some players here, they're feeling pretty good all throughout. And, you know, we're not getting the same player.
Worker.
Man, Worker falls back. Again, just an awkward transition there. And yeah, I mean, luckily, as I was saying, we're not going to be seeing too many of just one person coming first every single time. Now, oh no, that's going to bring him from second all the way down to fourth, maybe fifth at this point. Hazard takes back first place. Oh, that's a crystal. You don't want to be hitting those well, I mean, look, hey, I'm not going to judge what you do in your free time, but let's keep that out of the
crystal.
In the crystal, hell yeah.
Yeah, this is maybe a conversation not to be had on the main Track Mania channel later.
Let's keep. Well, we got to get the silly out of the way now, so that we don't talk about hard drugs on Track Mania. Yeah,
we get away with that here on twitch.tv/Newell. Maybe less so on twitch.tv/Track. Yeah, no,
look, this is Twiggy and Nua after hours. That's before hours, but still
before hours. Yeah. Everything's after some hour somewhere.
Yeah, it's always high noon somewhere.
Yeah, I may just see, can we just pull up the scoreboard very quickly in game? I just want to see. It looks like, yeah, you can see after that round, Worker straight back into the thick of it. 7 points clear only of Hazard. And after starting to pull away in the last round, you can see one off round really can just all of a sudden make you lose any sense of safety you were starting to gain.
Yeah, you never really get a break, and with the point split the way it is, if somebody is consistently in the top 3, they're going to be contending the whole time. You cannot fall asleep at the wheel, quite literally, at any point. And right now it is Worker and Hazard in first and second place.
Yeah, and the one thing that it is worth saying as well is that, yeah, Worker made a mistake in the last round, but on pure pace at the moment, dominating this match. Has the pace so far on both of the maps we've played. This round in particular, not quite as far in front of the rest of the cars. There is a pack of 3 players chasing. A single mistake would be brutal. Great race between all of the players. Second to fourth, separated by about a 10th, and 5th and 6th, not far behind either.
Yeah, that was absolutely brilliant, and it does just keep that competition really fervent up at the top as well. Obviously, it doesn't matter how far the gap is between each of the players in terms of how many points you get, but at the same time, you love to see rounds like that, especially when, one tiny mistake could have cost Worker that first place, could have given Hazard that second there, and absolutely just balanced out the points even further. But anybody is still in this competition here. You are not safe if you are Worker or Hazard at the moment.
Nope. There are plenty of players looking to catch up, and that means, well, we're on to fall evening, and that means a lot of flips, a lot of jumps, and a lot of style in this one. As with basically all of the Australix maps, I believe, being played tonight, there is the choice for some safe routes, but I think we're going to be seeing pretty much exclusively the difficult routes at this point. I think Australix did a very good job on each of these maps that when they were being played and discovered for the first time, we saw plenty of players do very, very well by sticking to those safe routes until quite late in the competition, because, the risky routes were just risky enough and just difficult enough. And the safe routes had just enough of a time balance that you could still be competitive. That's just not going to be the case at this point, though. You need to be risking.
Yeah, there are going to be at least, 2 or 3 players that are just they know the route the risky route inside out, and are not going to really make any massive mistakes all the way throughout. So yeah, you're not going to be able to catch up.
This ending is going to cost rounds. It did when we played it live. It's going to do it again today. And that's just exciting. It is a very fun finish to watch. And, well, honestly, pretty much every single one of the risky paths on this map is fun to watch. Starting off with a side flip into difficult jumps and keeping speed throughout the rest of the map. And it really is a snowball effect, as we've seen each of the first 2 tricks now claim a player.
Oh, and down goes Hazard. Yeah, just missing out on the transition. And, well, already we've seen a massive split between first and third even. Oh, Worker stays good, but we've got players falling out left, right, and center, dropping like flies at the moment. Makura keeps up with Worker, and it's not too far behind now as we go into the bug slide section. Lucario right behind in third place, just a matter of a couple of seconds that do separate a lot of these players. Just about makes that one, and into the flip now. Who's going to take the most speed out of it? I think Worker's good. Oh no, Lucario doesn't make the transition. Just about. Worker stays out ahead. Nekojim right behind, but it's clean all the way through, and Worker just flips into the finish.
Yeah, Worker will
Wait,
not
no, he
into
didn't.
the finish.
No, he missed. He missed.
Worker
What?
has missed the finish. Yeah, no, that tracks. I would have sworn he was in as well. He is respawned.
Excuse me?
Potentially even accidentally full DNF. No, he is there, making it to the finish. Now it's a 6th place finish. It's only 69 points. It is nice. It's not nice when you were in a tight battle for first place at the moment. That means Nekojim with a full 100, going to be leapfrogging a little ways up the leaderboard, is only still in 5th place, but that has been enough for Hazard to overtake the lead now.
Yeah, Worker really wanted to, make things even more intense. So, dropping himself 1 point behind Hazard, perfect. That makes things very intense now.
It's a single. Look, if we can finish with a single point separating second and third to get through, that's the dream, right?
That is absolutely, we want, look. Here's the thing, right? And everybody seems to think the same way with the World Tour as well. It's I don't care how comfortable the players feel. I want entertainment,
spectacle, drama,
exactly,
excitement.
If their heart rate is above 120, I'm happy. That's essentially that's how I feel about this game.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think Worker's going to be starting to creep up there now. A mistake in the middle of the track has not cost him the run, but it has dropped him back, and he's going to need a very strong end now. He's climbing back through the positions, overtaking one. Could catch Nabla or Makura. Will be Makura through that jump a little bit quicker. Goes Worker, who's safe. Not Worker, not looking comfortable on that end, and that means the 4 cards finished. Nekojim picks up a 2nd round win in a row. Hazard will take a 5th. Worker finishes in 6th place for a 2nd time running, and Mimo Jr. will finally make the finish in 7th as Lucario will take the safe route. And honestly, even this safe route, we've seen people struggle to get up that hill.
Wow. I mean, you can see the I think the reactions on this map from some of the players not enjoyed right now. I think that's the thing, right? Is that you go through a couple of maps that you're very comfortable on, you get some good times, you're feeling good about yourself, and then you go into a map that you're not quite as comfortable on. Maybe you've set a couple of good times, but you're not consistent on it, and suddenly things are very much falling apart. And Worker's going to be thanking his lucky stars that he did well in the last couple of maps now.
It's true. And in some ways, I was kind of surprised to see this map make it into the top 5, because I love it. We love it for the drama, for the spectacle, for just, as we said, the excitement and making players uncomfortable. but it's the players who voted for this map.
Yeah.
It's the players, it's the community who are like, yeah, this was one of the best 5 maps of the season. And in this competitive setting now, in the amount of pressure that is on these players, you can see it's starting to take its toll already. And we're not even into the finals yet.
Yeah, no, well, Worker is out ahead again, but having failed the finish probably 3 or 4 times in the last 2 rounds, that is nothing to be completely secure about. And actually, Nabla moves up into first position. Hazard trying to catch up at this point. Nabla seems very comfortable on this map. Oh no! Walker manages to make it, overtakes Hazard as he misses the finish there. Makura gets in 4th as well before Hazard can respawn and cross the line. Nekojim finding it hard to get through as well. Lucario just about hangs on, gets through the finish line. We've still got 2 players left to get in. Nekojim gets there, Laris. Oh no, you got 10 seconds to get it done. Can he get it? There we go. Okay, all good. We get points. We all get points. That's all that matters.
2 wins and a 7th place for Nekojim on this map. I mean, more comfortable than the others. Probably has managed to climb up the leaderboard a bit. Is now into 4th place, but that round does mean Worker regaining his 1st place. Not in style, not comfortably, but still back into 4th place. In 1st place, I should say, as we head on to our 4th map and getting close now to the end of this match. The end of this map and heading into the last one. That is really where we see how things are going to shake out at the end.
Yeah. I'm glad that we've moved into this with quite a nice split of you know, we're working up to a really nice intense finish. That's what matters here. I think this was the first map I casted with you here before my first ever Trackmania cast. And I mean, honestly, you could not have thrown me more in the deep end with this map.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're coming back to it now with fresh eyes, having seen multiple other tracks, lots of competitive maps for the World Tour and stuff. And I think, you know, you can see this and be like, wow, this really was insane.
Yeah, why was this my first? That makes absolutely no sense. That is like making a you know, under 18s football player go up against, you know, Barcelona in their first ever game. It's not really.
It's beautiful. It's what you love to see.
Lovely,
this,
yeah.
Again, one of the maps that I think has some of the just most stylish jumps. They're so cool. I love the kind of off-angle loop-de-loop that you jump into with the bobsleigh. It just looks so good, and it's consistent as well. It's the joy of these maps from Australix. It's why they've been so fun to watch, because the players, they can get it more often than not.
Yeah, well, we start off with players attempting to flip cancel to try and stop themselves from getting a slow motion there, obviously, into the no steer, moving through to the reset block. We saw a lot of mistakes there from even the best players. This time around, everybody coming into it just about prepared. The quarter pipe down into the next turn. And things just do not, you know, they don't get easier from there, as we can see from Nekojim with the transition into an upside-down bobsleigh there. And now through the risky section of the water, Laris gets through, it's fine.
He's okay. He's made it. He's safely through, and Worker has the lead, and so everything is absolutely a-okay. Mimo Jr. will be losing a lot of speed there. There's no one to challenge behind. Worker is driving off into the sunset at the moment, as Laris is the player currently sitting at the back. Worker has enough speed to make that track. The turnaround, he goes, and heading towards the end of the map. This is an end that could cost as well. Worker has the angle, has the speed to get over. You're absolutely right. It is deceptive. Will we see any fails? None. From the top 3, the snipe was nearly there. Nekojim was creeping.
Yeah, Makura brings up 6th place. And we're waiting for 2 more. Nabla is there. Lucario might not make it. 14 seconds and a slowdown inside the water. I'm not sure if he has enough speed to take the risky finish. Should be okay. 7 seconds as he goes over the slowdown. Oh no! Hold on. Oh no!
Okay, made it to the finish. Made it to the finish. A-okay, still picks up the points for getting there. Is still sitting about 150 behind the leader at the moment, so it's going to take a few very strong rounds to catch up from this position. And honestly, I'm not sure that we're going to see Worker start to let go of that lead anytime soon, as we have a couple of rounds left here on this map, and then we're on to our final map. We will head to summer and winter to finish things off.
Yeah, luckily for Worker, it does seem like he's regained that confidence after last map, more prepared for this one, and that's all that matters in the end, is that you can stop yourself from falling down the rabbit hole of getting kind of in your own head with these kinds of maps. Obviously, you need to stay about as clean as you can get all the way through them. Akura, that's okay. I mean, he's still going.
Is he? Just fully in the void, in the mud, gone somewhere anyway, and Hazard nearly falls off the edge as well. That was, an unfortunate line from Akura through there is what we'll call it.
Yeah, that unfortunate is a good word for that. I think that's a word we... A nice word that we like to use a lot of the time when we can't use other words here on Brook. Although we could probably on your channel. I'm not, there's no problem with that. But through to the finish. Nabla is first. Oh, just about makes it slow down, but it's all good. Mimo gets through to the end as well. Hazard third. Nekojim jumps over, gets fourth. Worker in fifth. And again, we're going to have a few players. This is, honestly, it wasn't one of the maps I expected to have a massive kind of split. Players scrounging for points by getting through in the last couple of seconds of the time, but it seems difficult for players.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I mean, obviously it's difficult, but
yeah. We understand. Just taking a look at the points, that battle for his second place is separated by 4 points right now. Yeah. That could come down to the last round on our last track.
Yeah, it really could. I mean, that is about as close as it could get right now. But as we move on through our last round here of Full Night, it's going to be incredibly important to maximize points, and you can see everybody trying to contend here for the top 5 positions, right neck and neck so far. Obviously, that is not going to be the case as we move further forward into the map, because our next couple of turns are going to be what split everybody apart. Nekojim in first place for the time being. He failed this jump last time around, but he gets it done this time. Stays in first place. Laris and Nabla right behind. Nekojim has less speed, but he takes it through. Stays in first place for the time being. Nabla overtakes with a beautiful transition and may just take all of that speed all the way through. Laris almost falls off the track. Hazard is contending once again for that top 3. It's staying real close. Oh, Nabla, no, he overheats.
How important could that be for our top 2? It's Hazard, Nabla, and Worker who are really competing for it at the moment. Worker is a little ways back, but he's gaining. He may even overtake Hazard at the moment. Wakura is sitting in first, happily going to pick up those 100 points. Hazard and Worker. It's Hazard who comes out on top by 3/10, and at the moment, Nabla still nowhere to be seen. Will finish outside the top 6. Will be losing an awful lot of points to his nearest competition. It finished in 4th place. What am I saying? Excuse me. That's a whole. What am I?
Oh my
I can't
God! A whole
read
5
anymore.
points. My
I
God!
can't read anymore.
Oh no! That's bro. We're going to be going for another what? How many hours today? Don't fall asleep
At
now.
least a couple. It's gonna be.
Well, I mean, we're still going after this. Is what I'm saying.
That's true.
You gotta stay. Stay with me here. I can't be. Come on.
Listen, we'll work on it.
I know this is more important, obviously, than All Stars, but let's
I mean, naturally, it just makes sense to me.
This is the format for the next World Tour. It's mini RPG. So.
I wish. I'd love it. We should talk a little bit.
They should make one map mini RPG though.
They should make all the maps mini RPG. I mean, all the identities are already essentially mini RPG, right? Like that is, they have added mini RPG to the World Tour already. Twiggy, we should talk about the gimmick of this map, because the gimmick of this map is incredibly cool.
Yes, it confused me for a little while, but the idea being that, well, I mean, as you can see here, players are going to respawn to get a different part of the map essentially.
Yeah, you double respawn and the map around you swaps from summer to winter. Different paths open up. Ice that was frozen may melt as you go through. And I think at this point, all of the players will know exactly which season they want to tackle each checkpoint in. So you are going to see the same respawns at the same specific checkpoints, taking them through. But if you do see players disappearing directly in front of the car that we're watching at any point as they go through a checkpoint, that's what's happening. They are double respawning. They are swapping to the other version of the map.
I think what has been decided is this right here is the only optimal double respawn. You'll see that happen every single time. What I was looking at with the records that I was looking at earlier, that seems to be what the top kind of 5 are doing. Every time that one respawn is fine. Everything else is not optimal to lose the time that you're going to take to respawn to get a better route.
Yeah, it is. Look, it's a count of 3 down. It's not a full 3 seconds, but it is about a second and a half, I think, on or double respawn. So yeah, avoiding them where you can and seeing exactly where you can afford not to lose time, that is vital. And of course, just the mechanics of the double respawn itself, you know, there's a tenth to be gained or lost there if you're a little bit too slow. And God forbid anyone double respawns early and sends yourself back to the previous checkpoint. That is absolute worst case scenario.
Yeah, well, looks like everybody's got it relatively clean so far, and people stay with the pack here. It's a wicked flip over to the plastic and through into the finish. But this one seems, you know, relatively... Wow, I mean, the tightness of that top 3 tells you everything you need to know. I think it's just... Everyone feels comfortable with this map, interestingly, despite the fact that it's got one of the wildest routes.
It definitely does. And that finish as well, it looks relatively safe, but it is worth noting that the finish is not actually just in the hole there. The finish is the line underneath, so you need to get cleanly through, and if not, you are going to be losing a lot of times. You slowly drift down towards it. So keeping it clean the entire way through, I mean, obviously, it's good. It's especially good at that finish line. And with 2 rounds left, the battle for our top 2 positions is still wide open up there. A couple of good rounds from Nabla, from Hazard, and from Worker is what they need to lock in a spot. And this is a good run from Nabla. Hazard is losing some speed behind. Worker is on the charge as well. Nabla is praying for Mokura and Larius to keep Worker and Hazard behind at the moment.
Yeah, and so far that is coming true now. Worker is really contending there for the top 3, takes more speed through, overtakes Laris. Can he take it through to the very finish line? It looks like that may be the case, so gets that top 3 position. Oh, Hazard snipes as well. Worker coming in second.
Down.
My lord.
That's close. That could matter. 3/10 between all 3 of those drivers. We'll see how the points now do shake out at the end. Neko Jim will cross the line in 7th as well, and we will just wait and see where Lucario has gotten to, somewhere on the track, possibly even a DNF on this one. And as we head then into our final round, Nabla really just needs a win. Nabla needs a win and needs Hazard to drop down a ways. 30 points pretty much separating them at this point, and that means that is all that Nabla can afford.
Yeah, that's got to be high pressure now for Hazard, obviously. Worker's going to be feeling good about his position at this point in time, but yeah, no, Hazard really has somebody breathing down his neck at the moment, and it's going to be difficult to get things done as the respawn comes on through. We're already seeing a big split in positions here. Nabla is just trying to keep up with Hazard, but for the time being, Hazard is in 2nd place.
Hazard is holding on, and well, Nabla will be the player to make the mistake, falling out the bottom of the wall. Right, Hazard, just keep it clean to the end. That will be it. That'll be Worker and Hazard moving through to a grand final, straight into the prize money spots they go. Hazard will not even be sniped at the end. Mimo Jr. cannot catch up to him, and that means Worker and Hazard guaranteed, locked in, top 2, moving to a grand final after the other semi-final concludes.
Yeah, really nice, consistent performance from both of them all the way throughout. Obviously, Worker had his moments in one of the maps where, you know, he found it a little difficult to keep up, and the finish was a bit awkward. But you just have to keep that in mind going through into the finals. And Hazard was relatively consistently in 2nd, 3rd, kind of 4th place all the way throughout that one. So that's a really nice position to be in.
Yeah, just looked fairly clean. Again, I think one of the things that we picked up on relatively early on for Worker is that the pace is there. In terms of just pure pace, it was a struggle on a lot of the maps, especially the first 2 that we played, Crystal Peaks and Spring Afternoon, for the rest of the lobby to compete. And with that in mind, Worker looking like a strong bet at the top. But of course, Hazard has been in this position before in the Season 1 finals, did make it into that grand final. I believe ended up with a 4th place finish ultimately. So looking for maybe a little bit of redemption, looking to overtake some of the players around him. I don't think there's anyone else actually returning for that grand final this time around. So Hazard's already, you know, improved. He's beaten the players who couldn't make it back.